Welcome to the Scout Team MVPs podcast, your home for weekly sports talk, where we break down all of your favorite teams, players, and upcoming matchups. Here are your hosts, the Scout Team MVPs.
That's right, we are the Scout Team MVPs, and we are back with episode 11 of your weekly sports talk podcast. Remember to find us on Facebook and Twitter at Scout Team MVPs, podcast profile, anchor.fm/Scout Team MVPs, and everywhere you listen to podcasts, whether that's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher. We're out there and we're available on all those different platforms, and also find us online at scoutteammvps.com. Back again, like I said, with episode number 11. I am your host, Chris McMillan. With me this week is Shane Burlick. Shane, I think we're without Rob this week, but I'm pretty sure he's up in the Klondike or something, prospecting for gold. I'm not quite sure.
That's what he said. I don't know how well that's going to work. It's probably frozen pretty well up there. Well, hopefully it doesn't fall through the ice or anything.
Yeah, I mean, you'd think middle of February, probably not the best time for gold mining, but, Rob, when there's a will, there's a way, right?
Well, I know you guys are a big fan of that one show that's on, like Gold Rush or whatever the heck it is. I've personally watched a little bit of it. It doesn't seem that hard. I mean, all you got to do is just have a guy that can fix things.
Well, we know that wouldn't be you or me.
Well, yeah, but that's where the paying the guy that can fix things comes in. I just turn it off and hit it with a little wrench or something, and then
have you tried turning it off and back on?
Yeah, just kick it a little bit.
No, I'm not really sure. Yeah, Rob is out this week. He's definitely not prospecting for gold. I mean, he could be, but that was just completely made up. But I mean, I guess it might not be too far out there when it comes to Rob. You never know with our friend there, right, Shane?
Well, who knows? I mean, he could be in Alaska. He could be in bed. He could be anywhere.
Yeah, but two-man booth tonight. We'll run it down like we usually do, have a good time. And what I'm really excited for on this episode, Shane, is that we're going to do something a little bit different.
Oh, when
it comes to our scouting for picks segment. And what I'd envision happening and what I'd like to see happen is if we could potentially get guest pickers from some of our listeners out there that would be willing to jump on during our scouting for picks segment. And let me know what you think about this, Shane, but kind of the thoughts in my head were the guest picker could pick a Scout Team MVP to challenge for the week. And whoever ends up having, the best record on the week wins. And so let's just say a guest comes on and challenges you for that week, and they get all they get all three picks correct, and you only get two correct. That guest picker would maybe win a little prize or something. Is kind of what I'm envisioning. So,
well, do we know who the guest picker is going to be like prior to the show, so I can see if I can beat him?
Yeah, we would. We'd like to have all that lined up, obviously, beforehand, and we'll know who it's going to be, and hopefully we'll know who they're thinking about challenging, or maybe they're just going to challenge you on the spot, right? Right while we're recording. But
we know who it's going to be tonight.
Yes, we have our first guest picker, a friend and fan of the show. Maybe friend might be a strong word.
Yeah, well, it's, you guys are in for a real treat if it's who I think it is.
Friend in air quotes and fan of the show. High school buddy. We've known this gentleman for a very long time, going back to basically before we could walk, really. Kevin Watts is our guest picker tonight. I know you're a huge fan of that.
No, well, kind of, sort of. I think we'll see. He's a Bears fan, so he can't be too smart.
Yeah,
No offense, Bears fans.
He's one of those Bears fans that lives in Wisconsin. He got a little mixed up, growing up there, I guess.
I think dropped on his head is more accurate.
I can neither confirm or deny that. But yes, we are having our first guest picker during our Scouting for Picks segment later on in this episode. Be sure to tune into that. And if you are also interested in being a guest picker on a future episode, let us know on Facebook, Twitter, wherever you want to message us. Let us know, and we'll try and set something up. But Shane, we got a jam-packed episode on this 11th episode, going to talk all kinds of different sports here, talking a little golf. NBA All-Star Weekend was this past weekend. Our honorable mentions of the week, getting into the AAF Week 2 and some college basketball, and then finishing it off with those scouting for picks, recap our picks from last week, and also get into some new picks. But with that, Shane, let's get ready for episode 11, and we'll be back right after this.
Oh, I'm fired up about it.
Jumping right into segment number 1 on this 11th episode of the Scout Team MVPs podcast, Shane, we're going to talk a little golf. And this story blew up over the past couple weeks, and that is talking about Matt Kuchar and a caddie, a local caddie. Shane, have you heard this story?
Yeah, I've heard a little bit about it. I've been it's kind of a funny deal for me, just personally, because I was always thinking about being a caddy for a summer job, but then I realized that I didn't know anything about golf, so that I'd be bad at it. I kind of learned a little bit more now, but I'm still pretty bad at the game, and I don't know what I'm doing. But so I give respect to caddies before we even start this story. So there's my kind of hot take.
Well, this particular caddy that we're talking about, this goes back to a tournament played back in November, and Matt Kuchar's normal caddy couldn't make it, and so he picked up a local caddy that works at this golf course every single day, normally makes about $200 a day, which, honestly, not bad work there. But Kuchar needed a caddy, so he picked up David Ortiz, and
wow.
They had
Big Papi really taking retirement seriously.
not that David Ortiz.
Oh, sorry.
He picked up not Big Papi, but David Ortiz, and they had come to, I guess, sort of a gentleman's agreement that, normally his daily rate is $200, but in this situation, Kuchar and Ortiz struck a deal where, depending on how Kuchar finished in that particular tournament, kind of depended on what he was going to make. So, for example, he said if he missed the cut, he'd pay him $1,000, $2,000 for making the cut, $3,000 for a top 20 finish, $4,000 for a top 10. I guess there was no really provision for what he'd be paid if he won, but afterward, Kuchar paid Ortiz $5,000 in cash. Keep in mind, Shane, that Kuchar, for winning this tournament, won $1.3 million.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah, that's it. Just, 4 days of golf. Easy work.
Yeah, right. I mean, how hard can that be? More money than I've made in my entire life so far.
So, and normally, just for comparison, a normal tour caddy makes about 10%. So in this situation, about $130,000. So, they had that gentleman's agreement in place, and it didn't seem like Ortiz was too thrilled about that, considering how much money Kuchar had just won. And I believe I read somewhere also that Kuchar has made like over $47 million on tour in his career. So he's not hurting for cash. So this whole thing started making the rounds recently on social media about what went down, and just that he was paid $5,000 after Kuchar won $1.3 million. And after it started kind of gaining steam and everybody was all over it on social media, Kuchar apparently, or his agents, reached out to Ortiz and were willing to pay him another $15,000 in cash. So upward. So now we're talking $20,000. Ortiz declined, said he wanted $50,000. So still about $80,000 less than a normal tour caddy would have made. And here's the kicker as well, Shane. Matt Kuchar has not won a tournament in about 4 years until that win. So
yeah, that random dude that works at that course was your caddy. I mean, kidding me, man? It's only like an extra $45,000. That's like pocket change. Somebody who's made $47 million. It's not like he doesn't make endorsement money. Like what?
Yeah, he's speaking of endorsements, I think he's a Skechers guy. I think that right off the bat, even if they had that gentleman's agreement in place beforehand, okay, I'll give you $5,000 if we win, whatever. I think he's a hero if, after the tournament he wins, he says, you know what, here's $35,000. Done deal. I think everybody would have been going to Skechers.com and buying a pair for themselves because Matt Kuchar is a hero. But in this situation, how he gets paid $5K and it takes this long and then it kind of gets out and now all of a sudden it's a big deal. It just got out of hand. And at this past weekend's Genesis Open tournament, Matt Kuchar released a statement kind of saying that he was definitely in the wrong here and ended up actually paying David Ortiz the $50,000, which he requested. But I think it's probably a little bit too late for his reputation.
Yeah, because it makes you look like a jerk. I mean, I don't know how else you can get around it. I mean, from what I heard, he was getting bashed like everywhere, like you said. I mean, if you just paid him the $50,000 to begin with, you wouldn't even have to worry about this. I mean, what's the last big golf PR scandal? Tiger Woods. I mean, maybe Dustin Johnson doing coke. I mean, just pay the dude $45,000 and your name doesn't get dragged through the mud. You've got the money. Why? It's just easier. Why would you want to do that?
Yeah, I think, first thought from Matt Kuchar is, what, we had an agreement. Here's the $5,000, move along with his day. But once it started making the rounds on social media, it was just like, whoa.
Well, yeah, once anything hits that, it's like a wildfire. You can never stop it. Because here's the thing I know about those platforms. It's little technologically, but it's that people are bored and have literally nothing better to do than bash celebrities on social media. So what do you expect to happen? Like, I mean, like Kirk Cousins, this is irrelevant, but he posted that like giveaway thing on Twitter or whatever about what he should give away. And someone says, how about $45 million of your contract money back? Like, what do you expect to happen? These people have literally nothing better to do with their day. Like, they're going to bash you on social media and it's going to get around in like 10 seconds. It's not like the old days where the newspaper was how people got their news. I mean, maybe your great grandpa.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's once something gets out there, and there are lots and lots of keyboard warriors out there that have no problem saying whatever they want on Twitter or Facebook or whatever. But you got to think in a normal face-to-face situation, they wouldn't say even close to half the things that they would on social media.
Of course not. They'd ask him for his autograph and be like, "Oh my god, celebrity!"
Yeah, autograph and a selfie.
Yeah, I mean, we've met celebrities before. It wasn't anything like that. Obviously, that's a story for another time. But they were cool, but I wasn't like starstruck. Granted, they weren't like A-list celebrities, but I don't think Matt Kuchar's an A-list celebrity. He's like was he ranked in the golf world way down there? I mean, he's no Tiger Woods.
Yeah, he does definitely not the same celebrity as somebody like Tiger, but I mean, he's made over 47 million. He's been a good golfer for quite a while, but yeah, I think in this situation, like, unless he would have done it right off the bat, like you said, made that gesture right after the tournament and said, hey, you know what? Here's $35,000, here's $50,000, whatever it might have been. Instead of that $5K, he would have looked like a hero, but instead he looks like a zero, right? And so otherwise, he paid him the $50K. David Ortiz made a bunch of money for 4 days of work. Good on him. But I think when it comes to that, it is what it is, right, Shane? And we're going to move on to our next golf topic, and that is going back 2 weeks to the Pebble Beach Pro-Am. Just want to touch on this briefly because Phil Mickelson did pick up a victory there, shooting 19 under par total for the tournament. I wish I could shoot 1 under par for 4 days.
Wish I could make a birdie by myself without a scramble.
Yeah, so he shot 65, 68, 70, 65 for a 268 total and that 19 under par for the victory, edging out Paul Casey and Scott Stallings, who were 16 under and 15 under respectively. Phil Mickelson picking up another victory there. This past weekend, Shane, we had quite a field. A lot of the big names out there, including Tiger and Rory and Jordan Spieth. Lots of big names playing in the Genesis Open at Riviera Country Club in California. And Justin Thomas was leading this tournament practically all weekend until he shot a 4-over final round and lost by 1 shot to JB Holmes. JB Holmes finishing at 14 under par. Justin Thomas, 13 under par. notable, tied for 15th. Tiger Woods shot 6 under for the tournament. He did have quite the start on his third round, going 7 under through the first 10 holes, but ultimately fading back, shooting 1 over in his final round, finishing, like I said, tied for 15th at 6 under par. But JB Holmes overtaking Justin Thomas. Shane, any quick thoughts about any of those two tournaments, and when are we going to shoot scores like that?
In terms of the latter question, never, unless we cheat. Summer rules.
Summer rules.
Shout out. But I mean, it's good to see Phil win a tournament that's not a one-on-one game like match against Tiger Woods, which if Tiger plays like Tiger can play, can be an easy victory, or the other way around. But in terms of the Rivera or the Genesis Open, no, the usual names up there. Adam Scott, he finished tied for 7th. Justin Thomas right there. I think those guys are up there in the world rankings. So no huge surprises. I mean, for Tiger, for shoot 6 under, 8 back of the leaders. I mean, that's a good start for him. But I think I'm interested in a couple months here to see what happens at the Masters. I think this is going to be the first time that Tiger's played at the Masters in a few years, right? Or did he play there last year?
Yeah,
or didn't finish.
Yeah, he played there last year.
Did he? Oh yeah, he did. There was one year that he got a stroke penalty for something like making a divot or something crazy like that. I remember.
Yeah, he finished tied for 32nd last year, so not a very good showing. But it was one of his first tournaments back from injury. So
yeah, Bubba Watson will always be one of my Masters picks. For some reason, that's the only time Bubba knows how to play golf.
Yeah, Patrick Reed, the defending Masters champion. Ricky Fowler, second place last year. Jordan Spieth coming in third. So huge names at the top there. But yeah, I mean, that's always obviously one of the huge tournaments that everybody looks forward to, kind of kicking off our spring really and coming in April. Augusta, just one of those places that anytime you see it on television, really makes you want to get there in person. And
yeah, I don't think you have enough zeros in your bank account to play a team there.
You're probably right, but even just to watch the Masters someday would be fun.
Yeah, I don't think I have enough zeros in my bank account to get tickets there.
Well, bucket list, right?
Maybe I can be a caddy and make $50,000.
Just don't caddy for Matt Kuchar, or maybe you should caddy for Matt Kuchar because
he won't make that mistake again.
He won't make that mistake again. You'll get paid $100,000, and he'll get yelled at again. So
yeah, I'll be like, I want $1 million.
Quite a few fun golf tournaments the past couple of weeks, Shane, and JB Holmes coming out on top in the Genesis Open. Phil Mickelson coming out on top in the Pebble Beach Pro-Am. Pebble Beach Pro-Am always fun because you get a lot of those celebrities out there playing as well. But
my boy Tony Romo.
Tony getting her done.
I think he was looking good out there.
He had to withdraw, I think.
Yeah, but he had some nice shots there. It was you made the Sports Center top 10 with his shot from the rooftop bar there.
He's tried to qualify for the U.S. Open the past couple of years, and he's been close. But I mean, he's a good golfer.
Yeah, so that's I think one of my favorite golf tournaments of the year to watch is where they get the teammates. They do the teams right where they Aaron Rodgers plays every year. And what am I thinking of? Was that?
That's the Pro-Ams. Yeah, there's quite a few different Pro-Ams that football players and all those.
Well, in California, it's always a professional teamed up with an amateur. Yeah, Happy and Bob Barker or something.
Yeah, maybe we should get a Adam Sandler, Bob Barker reunion.
The price is wrong, Bobby.
Well, with that, Shane, perfect time to transition into segment number 2, talking a little bit of NBA and All-Star Weekend, and we'll get right into that after this. Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? When I was trying to get this podcast off the ground, I had a lot of questions. How do I record an episode? How do I get my show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all the other places people like to listen? How do I make money from my podcast? The answer to every one of these questions is really simple. Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. Best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. And now, Anchor can match you with great sponsors too, so you get paid to podcast. For the Scout Team MVPs and what we decided to use to get our podcast off the ground, there was no better choice than Anchor. So if you've always wanted to start a podcast and make money doing it, go to anchor.fm/start to join me and the diverse community of podcasters already using Anchor. That's anchor.fm/start. I can't wait to hear your podcast. And we're back here on the Scout Team MVPs podcast, episode number 11. Chris McMillan here with Shane Burlick. If you were sleeping during that intro, Rob not with us this episode, but we're long into segment number 2, and we're going to talk a little bit of NBA action, Shane. And we had all of the All-Star festivities go down this past weekend, and we're going to start with some Friday action, and that is with the Rising Stars game. And if you're not familiar with that game, it is Team USA versus Team World, and is comprised of rookies and second-year players, kind of those rising stars, like they say. And in this situation, Shane, Team USA comes out on top 161 over Team World, who had 144. And your MVP of that matchup was from the Lakers, Kyle Kuzma, 35 points, bringing home the victory for Team USA. Did you catch any of the highlights of that game at all, or catch the game itself?
Yeah, I watched part of the game and I saw the highlights. It's always fun to watch the younger players. I think Giannis was in that game a few years back. I think there's been quite a few superstars that have come out of that game. But yeah, it's always kind of fun to watch. Nobody really plays too much defense based on the score, obviously. But, it is the NBA and they don't play defense until like the finals or the playoffs anyway. So
very, very true. Yeah, it's a good situation for a lot of these younger players to get noticed on the big stage. So a lot of these guys playing on teams that don't get a lot of national attention. But yeah, Team USA coming out on top, 161 to 144.
Or in Kuzma's case, he plays with LeBron, so he's going to be overshadowed regardless.
Yeah, large shadow looming in Los Angeles. Another Friday night special, Shane, was the celebrity basketball game. And I think when it comes to these celebrity basketball games, most of the time I'm just spending all my time trying to figure out who some of these people are.
Yeah, I was reading through the rosters when the game was on, and I was super confused as to, I think I knew who a few of them were. I mean, I knew, obviously, Ray Allen, which I think we talked about off the air. I thought that was pretty unfair. I think the away team had, their home team had Steve Smith, and then, I mean, if that's your professional athlete, I mean, I guess Jay Williams played in college, too, on the home team, but kidding me, Ray Allen, dude's one of the best three-point shooters of all time. He's not that far from retirement. If he wanted to, he'd kill those guys.
Yeah, gals. I mean, we've seen in the past too a lot of the different celebrities that are former basketball players that play in this game. Obviously, a huge impact on these types of games. But let me just run through the rosters here, Shane, for both teams. Home and away team. We're gonna start with the home team. Mike Coulter, he's a Luke Cage actor. Chris Daughtry, I've heard of him. Terrence J.
No idea. Famous
Laos?
Never heard of him.
Famous Lost? Speaking of him, he was actually the MVP of this game, but he's apparently a comedian and a social media influencer.
Funniest part is
a decent basketball player.
You know what the funniest part about him being a comedian is? His name is Famous Los, and I've never heard of him, so he's not very famous.
Good one.
Bad jokes.
Next one, you know this guy, Dr. Oz.
Oh yeah, him and I have a great relationship. He,
he's helped you in the past.
HIPAA, man, you can't talk about it.
Oh, that's true. Next one, Rhapsody, rapper and recording artist.
I thought that was a song by Queen, but
Bohemian Rhapsody? Yeah. Well, apparently it's a rapper.
Yeah, well, perfect.
Next, Bo Reinhardt. No idea. JB Smoove. I've seen him in prior celebrity games.
Seen his crappy commercials.
Steve Smith, like you talked about, former wide receiver for the Panthers and Ravens. Asia Wilson, 2018 WNBA Rookie of the Year. Jay Williams. He's now a ESPN college basketball analyst, but he was a player at Duke and with the Bulls for a short time before he was injured.
He played for Duke, so boo. Sorry, Duke fans. Winslow touched it, first of all.
Yes, Winslow touched it for all you listening out there, whether you're a Wisconsin or a Duke fan. Next on the list and last for the home team, Jason Weinman. He was the hometown hero for that game.
I thought that was Harvey Weinstein for a second, but that wouldn't make sense.
No. Running down the away team real quickly, Shane. Ronnie 2K, Director of Influencer Marketing at 2K Sports.
Oh, his last name is 2K? Wow, that guy's really taking that seriously. I'm sure his mom's proud.
I mean, he's living the gimmick. Next on the list, Ray Allen, as talked about, Naismith Basketball Hall of Famer, and formerly traded in his absolute prime, if you're a Milwaukee Bucks fan, for the glove, Gary Payton. Worst trade in NBA.
Yeah, Gary Payton in like the back half of his career. Freaking Bucks.
My goodness, was that a terrible trade?
I remember when this is off topic, but like the Lakers had Ray Allen, Karl Malone, all those super old dudes. They're like, oh, it's a championship team. Oh, I didn't even make the playoffs.
Yeah, you said Ray Allen, but they had Gary Payton. But
I'm talking about the Lakers when they traded for Gary Payton after the Bucks had him.
Yeah, Ray Allen for 80-year-old Gary Payton, not a good trade.
Yeah, tractor trailer for Nowitzki too.
Next on the list, AJ Buckley, SEAL Team actor, Bad Bunny, recording artist. No idea.
Is that a guy or a girl?
It's a guy. Yeah.
What? I would not have pictured that, but okay.
He was wearing like a bunny hat. It was kind of weird.
Oh, he's a loser. Anyways.
Stephanie Dolson, WNBA's center, Chicago Sky. Mark Lazary, co-owner of Milwaukee Bucks. He's played in the last few games, and he tries very, very hard out there.
He's a high effort guy with a big motor. I think they only use that to describe certain guys who are just average players. Like, Tyler Hansborough, great effort. Oh, great.
Yeah, he tries very hard. I give him props. He's been out there the past few games, and these celebrity games, and good guy turning around the Bucks. So I'm okay with it. Next guy, Shane, Hassan Minhaj. Minhaj. Actor,
I have no idea. Never heard of
comedian,
him.
Host of Netflix's Patriot Act with, so never heard of him.
Try his name again. It's like Tua Tagovailoa.
Next on the list, last year's MVP in the celebrity game, Quavo, rapper.
I've heard of, actually.
He's from the group Migos, I think. So for all you rap fans out there, I'm sure you know.
Side note since you mentioned that, I didn't know that Migos was more than one person. I thought it was a one-person deal, and then someone finally told me, like, no, it's like three guys. So I'm like, what? Like, yeah, Migos, like amigos, like, oh, that makes sense now. Anyways, moving on. Cool.
That got me last year too when I watched the celebrity game, and they said he was from the group Migos. So I'm like, wait, hold on.
God. So confusing. All these rappers sound the same half the time. Give me T-Pain or something.
Yeah. Next on the list, Adam Ray, comedian, and does the podcast about last night. Free marketing for that podcast. Amanda Seals, actor, comedian, recording artist. James Shaw Jr., hometown hero for the away team. Brad Williams, comedian, also on the About Last Night podcast.
Hold on. If he's a hometown hero, why is he playing on the away team?
Well, they had a hometown hero for each team.
Oh, okay. Where was God. Never mind. I don't even want to talk about it.
Okay.
We won't get into it.
Final score, though. This was a close one. Home team, 82. Away team, 80. Most valuable player, like talked about, Famous Lowe's, 22 points. Let's be done with the celebrity game, Shane. Let's move on.
Yeah, Famous Los has gotten more. His name's gotten said more on this podcast than I think it has anywhere else.
Quickly run through Saturday night's festivities: slam dunk contest, 3-point contest, skills challenge. Participants: Mike Conley, Luka Doncic, De'Aaron Fox, Nikola Jokic, Kyle Kuzma, Jason Tatum, Nikola Vucevic and Trae Young, and the eventual winner. And I'm not sure if you caught the end of this, Shane, but Jason Tatum beat Trae Young with a half-court shot to end it there.
I did not see that.
Yeah, usually it ends with a three-pointer, but he was trailing and threw it out from half-court and put her in. So, good deal.
That's impressive.
It was pretty cool. Three-point contest, though. Lots of big names here. Devin Booker from the Suns, Seth Curry, Steph Curry, Battle of the Brothers there. Danny Green from the Raptors, Joe Harris from the Nets, Buddy Hield, Damian Lillard, Chris Middleton from the Bucks, Dirk Nowitzki, Kemba Walker, and Joe Harris taking down Steph Curry in the finals there to get the three-point contest victory. I had never heard of Joe Harris until I saw him win the three-point contest.
Because he plays for the Nets, man.
Yeah, true. And the grand finale of the night on Saturday, slam dunk contest, definitely gone downhill. So in recent memory, the dunk contest is not what it used to be.
Boo.
Mostly because most big names in the NBA don't participate anymore. But in this year's contest, we have Miles Bridges of the Hornets, John Collins from the Hawks, Hamidou Diallo from the Thunder, Dennis Smith Jr. from the Knicks. And there were some really nice dunks in this dunk contest, Shane. And the eventual winner was Hamidou Diallo from the Thunder. But like I said, just not the same without the big names.
Can I make a suggestion about the dunk contest?
Yes.
Like what they should do next year? First of all, it's a travesty that LeBron James never did it. I don't know why. He must have been scared. Like, how are you going to be not in the dunk contest if you're supposedly the best player in the NBA? Like, how have you never done it? 2, we should bring LeBron in there next year. Make Vince Carter come back and do it. Vinsanity coming back. That's what I want to see. That bring me back. Bring all the old guys in there. Like, Vince Carter, LeBron, bring
Dominique.
back Kobe, Dominique.
Spud Webb.
Get Jordan out there. Here's what I want to also see down the line. And it'll never be fair because one's way younger. Celebrity game, Michael Jordan, LeBron James on the court at the same time.
Oh boy.
I mean, picture that.
That would be that's made for TV right there.
Yeah. Did Jordan played with the Wizards when LeBron was in the league, right? Or no?
I think Jordan was done the year right before LeBron, potentially. I could be wrong on my dates, but I think so.
I'll tell you what. I would actually pay money if it were pay-per-view to see LeBron and Jordan play on the same court in a celebrity game down the road.
I know. Even Michael's what, 20 years older than LeBron? But
gotta be
21 years older. I think he just turned 56. Cool. So
still be cool.
It would still be cool. I'd definitely watch. That would be fun thing to see because
I want to see LeVar Ball play Michael Jordan. He thinks he can beat him. So
that's also true. That'd be another one. See, we're just listen up, everybody. We're giving you money makers right here. Let's get it done. Somebody has to have the power to make this happen.
Well, it's not me because I had the Happy Gilmore Shooter McGavin rematch idea, but nobody ever, greenlit that. Hollywood.
Well, soon enough they'll hear us eventually, Shane.
You talk loud enough and long enough, you can be famous anywhere. There's certain radio and TV people I can mention. Skip.
That's very true, but the big one here is what happened on Sunday night, and that is the actual All-Star game, Team LeBron and Team Giannis. And let's run through this quickly, Shane, but Team Giannis, who looked like the underdogs before, like big-time underdogs before this game took place, was actually up for a large majority of that game, getting up by at least 20 points at one point. But Team LeBron comes storming back, just knocking down threes all over the place in that fourth quarter and eventually coming out on top 178-164. Kevin Durant, the MVP of that game. I believe he had 31 points in that matchup. But I think the big story was how well our Milwaukee Bucks showed out in that game. Giannis, 38 points. Chris Middleton, 20 points in his first All-Star appearance. And there's one other thing I want to mention about Chris Middleton is I believe he is the first G League player, because he started in the G League, to make the All-Star team. So shout out to Chris Middleton.
Yeah. Second round pick over Anthony Davis. Yeah.
Let's Yeah, it was a good game. I actually watched the entire thing, which I haven't done in a long time as far as All-Star games go, but I thoroughly enjoyed watching it. Lots of points, obviously, not a lot of defense happening in these All-Star games, but lots of crazy dunks, lots of high-flying action, lots of three-point shots. But Team LeBron ultimately coming out on top 178-164 over Team Giannis. And Shane, not sure if you watched any or all of that All-Star game, but it was a fun one.
It was all right. I don't know. Like I said, I struggle, much like you guys talk about with the MLB. I struggle to get into the NBA until the playoffs. I mean, I'll watch games, but I'm not like a diehard fan. So the All-Star game is better than the football game. All-Star game better than the NFL. I mean, I'll give it that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if it's not your cup of tea, it's not your cup of tea. But you know what, Shane? This All-Star game is over, and I'm looking forward to the second half of the season getting underway this week. But with that, we are going to take a short break, transition into segment number 3, and get into our honorable mentions for the week.
Commercials.
Commercial break. Jumping right into our honorable mentions for the week, Shane, we're talking the Alliance of American Football. Week 2 went down this past weekend, and on Saturday we had the Birmingham Iron taking down the Salt Lake City Stallions 12-9. What a barn burner we had there, hey?
Yeah. Gosh, AAF football, man. It's like not as good as college football and not as good as the NBA, but I mean, it's there.
It's there. It's available to be watched, and yeah, Iron coming out on top, 12-9 over the Stallions. But the next matchup on Saturday, we had the Arizona Hotshots coming out on top, 20-18 over your Memphis Express.
Yeah, I watched that game. Tennessee is like a second home to me. I'm just kidding. But I truly do like Tennessee. It's a great state. Going back in September, look out for me there in the Smoky Mountains. But
right.
it's a nice place. So that's kind of where, I mean, Memphis notwithstanding, Tennessee's a nice state. Memphis is kind of not nice, I've heard. But,
Well, you're Memphis ride or die now. I mean, you're just ingrained.
Well, right? I'm not going to buy any gear or actually watch a game, most likely. But, they're there.
Well,
I think Zach Stacy plays for that team. He's an ex-Ram.
Yeah, I mean, there's still time, Shane, to jump on the Orlando Apollos train, and they played on Sunday and took out the San Antonio Commanders 37-29.
Only if Rod is going to the game.
Yeah, shout out.
Yeah, he's not listening to this. If he is, oh man, that'd make my day.
Well, let's give a little bit of backstory here, Shane. I think it warrants it in this situation.
Yeah, it explains why you like Orlando.
Yeah, so going back a few years now, 6 years already now, Shane?
6 or 7.
Yeah, going back a few years now, Shane and I took a bro trip to Orlando and visited our favorite place on the entire planet Earth, Universal. Okay, a couple of our favorite places on Earth. Went to Universal Studios to go to Harry Potter World. If you haven't been to Harry Potter World and you are a Harry Potter fan, I highly suggest going, especially with all of the recent updates that took place. But this is the original OG Harry Potter World before all of the new stuff happened in the last couple of years. But anyways, Shane and I frequented the old Margaritaville there on the City Walk.
Frequented, you meant spend most of the time there. And
if you're not familiar with the City Walk in Orlando, lots of different restaurants and bars and shops and things of that nature. And Shane and I found ourselves in Margaritaville.
Oh yeah, just $12 a drink. It was real cheap.
Just about it's one of those places. Just, I mean, it's Universal. I mean, everything's expensive, but yeah, we spent about 75% of our time there.
And money.
But we met a very nice bartender named Rod. Rod, if you ever hear this somehow, thank you for giving us some free drinks.
Some, you mean like 50?
being some very good entertainment for the weekend, some quality conversation.
Yeah,
Most
really
of which we cannot
it,
repeat
but...
here. But I don't know, just one of those trips, bro trip. It was fun. I had a good time, had some drinks, had some laughs. But Orlando, definitely one of those top places to visit on my list, solely based on that alone, really, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, it was interesting to say the least. I'm still pretty upset that I lost my glass from the NASCAR bar.
Yeah, I lost mine too. NASCAR bar no longer in existence, but when it was, they gave you a free pint glass, commemorative pint glass kind of thing with your certain drink or whatever that you got, and proceeded to lose that first night at Margaritaville, actually. So
held on to it as long as I could, like 45 minutes.
So if anybody has my NASCAR bar pint glass, I would like that back.
Bring it back now. That's worth a lot of money now.
Yeah, a little bit of backstory about that, but Orlando Apollo, Shane, 37-29 over the San Antonio Commanders. Next game on the list here, San Diego Fleet over the Atlanta Legends, 24-12. Solid week 2 matchups for the AAF. Keep her rolling, boys. And the next honorable mention for the week, college basketball, Shane. And we had number 1 team go down, and that is the Tennessee Volunteers.
Always been a big Vols fan.
Love the Vols. First loss since November 23rd. That's and they lost to the Kentucky Wildcats. Yeah, it is a long time. November 23rd, their last loss. Kentucky topping them. PJ Washington scoring 23 points. Keldon Johnson, 19. And Kentucky Wildcats ranked number 5 going into that game. Tennessee was number 1, but losing 86-69 last Saturday night, and that also ends the Volunteers' 19-game winning streak. But Shane, with that, let's jump into the AP Top 25 college basketball standings, run through a few of these teams here. With that loss, Tennessee dropping down to number 5, and Duke once again retaining the top spots, 23-2 overall record.
Yeah, no surprise there. The Duke Blue Devils. Zion Williamson going to be a number 1 pick, probably. I would highly doubt that if whichever team goes number 1, if they don't take them, that'll be a fire.
Yeah, I mean, Duke, they're a good team. Lots of really good talent there, lots of good freshman talent there that are going to be gone after this year, but they are now ranked number 1 again. Number 2, Gonzaga. Number 3, Virginia. Kentucky moving up just 1 spot to number 4. Tennessee, like I said, number 5. Nevada, 6. Michigan, 7. UNC, number 8. And I believe we have a UNC Duke showdown this week in college basketball as well. Number 9, Houston. And rounding out the top 10, Michigan State. And we'll give a slight shout out to Marquette at number 11. They're from Wisconsin. We got to
looking good this year, actually.
Looking really good this year. Marcus Howard looking really good. And just because we can, let's see Wisconsin coming in 22. At number 22.
Yeah, well, this is their last year to make a run if Ethan Happ, and that's just not going to.
Losing their last 2 games, not they
lost to good teams, I guess. I mean, Michigan on the road, Michigan State. They had a good shot against Michigan State. They were, up by 7 at one point in the first half and went in the second half tied, but they just didn't have what it took to finish.
Yeah, this top 25, I mean, you know what it is, though, Shane, is we are getting into just about time for March Madness. I mean, we're about, a month away from the good stuff?
The brackets, I'm excited. Going to have everyone fill out a bracket on this show.
We will definitely have a Scout Team MVPs bracket go down, and maybe even get some viewer input too. See if we can get some of our listeners to get some brackets in there.
I'd say we could bet money on it, but I'm not saying that.
No, we would never do that. We would never.
I've never once bet money on a fantasy league or March Madness. If anyone's listening, I've never done that.
Yep.
Actually,
same
I
here.
Have.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. God, prove it.
Yeah, come and get me.
Gotta get a warrant.
Duke coming in number 1 in the top 25, like we said, Shane. But we're getting down to that really fun time in college basketball when it comes down to tournament time. Those conference tournaments right around the corner, March Madness right around the corner, and everybody get ready to fill out those brackets because it's coming. But with that, Shane, that is our last honorable mention for this week, and we are going to come on back with our Scouting for Picks segment and our guest picker, Kevin Watts. And we're back here on the Scout Team MVPs podcast, episode number 11, jumping right into our Scouting for Picks segment. And we have our guest picker on the line, Shane, and it is Kevin Watts. Kevin, how you doing today?
Pretty good, guys. Long-time listener, first-time caller. Thanks for having me on.
Sounds just like those Chicago Bears the Bears talk
I had
shows
to say
there.
that. I've always wanted to, so.
Well, welcome. We gave the listeners already, Kevin, a rundown of who you are, so we don't need to talk about you any more than that.
Hey.
Well, what was he doing before this?
Yeah.
Here's the thing,
What are you
guys.
up to tonight?
All right.
Yeah.
I'm dating a 4K teacher. Shane, you might know where I'm coming from because you have kids of your own, but she's around 4-year-olds all day, and there was a little bit of a lice outbreak today, so I spent 35 minutes combing through her hair trying to check for lice. Yeah, I'm never going to catch the lice.
Well, that sounds like fun.
Not going to lie. Well, I'm also on another podcast. It's called Discover Crivets, featuring Wayne and Pat. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
My dad and grandpa, for everyone who doesn't know that.
I'll have to check that one
Quality
out.
podcast.
Two of my favorite
Check
people.
it out, guys.
Well, great. Well, I guess we're sort of glad to have you on. We introduced you in our intro as a friend to the show, but I said
guys,
friend was a pretty
I have a
strong,
question for
strong
you.
word.
So I'm on the show. I'm probably not going to listen to this week's podcast. That's going to cut your listeners down by like 50%.
Oh, thank you.
We let him on the show, Shane, and what does he do? He just takes jabs at us the whole time.
Yeah, well, that's just like real life, you know.
That's true.
He's mildly well, I can't. Never mind.
Well, Kevin, I hope you're ready to get some picks in this week. But before we get to that, we're going to run down our picks from last week. And starting off, Shane, we had the Daytona 500, which that pick was sent in to us by John on Facebook. Rob picked Jimmy Johnson. That was wrong. Shane, you picked William Byron. That was wrong. And I picked Martin Truex Jr. Also wrong because Denny Hamlin won the Daytona 500 from Joe Gibbs Racing. And I'm not sure if you saw this or not, but about more than half of the field
like a 22 car crash.
So that's not very fair.
That'll happen.
Yeah, not very fair.
Well, you know, it's hard to turn a car if you go left.
Hey, Shane, remember when you
can
hit
hit
that
things
car?
in a car sometimes. We're not talking about that. Open hit and run cases can't be talked about online.
Yeah, it's
I don't really want to go back to jail again.
Charges pending, so it's ongoing investigation. We can't talk about that. Yeah, Denny Hamlin coming out on top, though, boys, and actually all the top three in the race were all from Joe Gibbs Racing. Shout out to Joe Gibbs, big weekend for his team. And actually, too, John on Facebook picked the Wisconsin boy, Paul Menard. He was wrong as well, but it's okay, John, because none of us got it remotely right anyway.
Pretty hard to pick a NASCAR race when you don't know anything about NASCAR, other than they drive cars real fast and
Good. Hey, Shane, is that you over there, or is
your
that Rob?
sponsors
I'm
and,
trying to figure it out.
I'm taking it.
You know, if the car
I'm taking
drives
over
fast,
taking
it
over for
beats
him
the
this
other
week.
car.
No, anytime you play a game, you got an opportunity to win the game, and if you score more points than the other guy, you're like, Brett Favre.
You know what, boys? That was a great pick sent in by John. Maybe somewhere in a future episode, we'll pick another NASCAR race, and maybe we'll get somewhere close to the winner. But in this situation, we did not. But let's jump right into our next game that we picked, and that was the Orlando Apollos and the San Antonio Commanders. We talked about this in our previous segment, but Orlando did come out on top 37-29. Rob and I getting that pick correctly. Shane, you went with San Antonio.
Did you see how many people they had at that game, by the way? Like 29,000 people? Well, because it's Texas.
Yeah,
that's more than I thought.
Because they're great.
More than,
it's a great league.
As Shane would say, San Diego had
Don't mess with
in
Texas.
any game, but LA where they can't fit that many people in their stadium. So hey, they outnumbered them.
Okay, yeah, hey, they're always going to be the San Diego Padres to me. I mean,
okay.
Wrong sport.
Whoops. But you know what, Shane? You know what just happened with these picks? It puts you actually in last place, 14-17, sitting at the bottom.
I'm not at all surprised by that. Never claimed to know anything about sports very much.
Well,
yeah, I got nothing else to say about that topic.
Well, Rob on top still 20-11. I'm in second place, 15-16. We got some ground to make up here, and we're going to do that this week with our picks. And that is, let's see here, our first one, which we'll recap from, actually, we picked this in last week's episode, and it'll be taking place this Saturday. Just to run down those picks again. Rob and Shane going with the Warriors. I'm going with the Rockets. That game takes place on Saturday. Kevin, you're up, buddy. First time picking here. Why don't you go ahead and pick the Rockets at the Warriors?
Well, for a while there, I was thinking I was going to pick the Rockets because I really, really do not want to pick the Warriors. But then I realized that that Jimmy Harden character, I really don't like his beard. He's got a Facebook just like Shane, and so I'm going Warriors with this one.
Yep. Okay.
That is true. I do have a pretty epic beard.
There's a reason that's the other reason I picked the Warriors, because we all know we don't pick the same as you.
All right. Looks like I'm going to be the only one winning this week. Taking the Rockets.
Jimmy Harden.
Yeah. Well, whatever. Next game, boys.
Jimmy Harbaugh.
Celtics at the Bucks. Celtics currently fourth in the Eastern Conference with a 37-21 record. Bucks, as we know, first in the East, 43-14 record. This game takes place on Thursday. We're going to go ahead and start with Shane and get his pick in that one.
Well, I'd give you a lot of in-depth expert analysis, but
I got three words for you,
I'm going to
boys.
go with the Bucks.
Bucks in 6.
Good pick. Ooh. We're a big fan of that.
This is a one-game thing.
Let me tell you, I've watched 0 Milwaukee Bucks game this year, so I'm really knowledgeable about who to pick.
When you put it like that. Oh, okay. Yeah. Too much time on your fake doctor job?
Thank you.
I mean, all you got to know is that it's the Bucks. So, good pick there, Kevin. I know you guys are going to be very thrilled with this pick, but I'm going Bucks as well.
Can I change my pick?
Michael Red's
Kevin, I'm sorry. Michael Red, all day long. We're all going Bucks, so I'm sorry, Kevin. First time being on the show picking games. You're going to be getting that one wrong. But next matchup, boys, taking place on Saturday, and it is in the world of college basketball, and that is the number 5 Tennessee Volunteers taking on the number 13 LSU Tigers. Not sure how much you know about college basketball, Kevin, but we're throwing you into the fire. Pick that one first for us.
All right, here's my analysis for you, boys. Peyton Manning went to school at Tennessee. Peyton Manning played football. He didn't play basketball, so I got LSU in this one by 10.
I like it.
Oh, God, here we go again.
Okay, good deal. Shane, who you got?
Like I said, I'm a big fan of the state of Tennessee. I've been there. I want them. Yeah, you guys have heard this. It's my goal to one day move to Tennessee or Florida, just because I don't like to shovel snow.
Wait. Where did Florida come from?
Florida? Oh, I've always wanted to. Nah, Fort Lauderdale, man. I went on vacation there last year, stayed on the beach.
Okay. Right.
They have great calzones down there.
Huh.
That's the main reason I want to move there is the calzones. Anyways, I'm picking Tennessee.
Well, Shane,
always been a always been a fan.
You know what, Shane? Since I'm probably gonna just follow you right on to Tennessee when you move there, I'm gonna go ahead and pick the Volunteers as well. So Kevin, I mean, you might be getting this one correctly, but unless Shaq comes back, I don't see LSU winning that one. Sorry, bud. We will get Rob's picks here and post them on our social media to make sure he's current and up to date with the picks here. But Kevin, you never told us for sure. Are you challenging me this week for these picks?
Why is that even a question? You are terrible. You're terrible at making picks. So yeah, I'm challenging you.
Huh.
If you want to call it a challenge, because it's what am I playing for?
Okay, well,
All right, well,
I guess we'll see. But
I like Jaeger bombs.
We're all too familiar, so.
Yeah, we told that story already.
For you, it's a surprise. For any future guest pickers, we'll make the prize known ahead of time. But being the first one is a surprise.
About Nick Barnett and the boys.
That's cool.
Not the whole story, but
the
story.
Rod did come into this week's episode though, Kevin. So. Yeah, hard boy. Yeah, you know what, Kevin? I think this was so much fun in this week's Scouting for Picks segment that we might have you back in our next segment if you're willing to stick around for a couple more minutes.
Oh God!
But
what do we got next?
All right, we're gonna wrap it up for the week in our next segment. So it's a fun one. So we're gonna catch you guys right after this. Kevin's gonna be right on back with us. And we're back on episode number 11 of the Scout Team MVPs podcast, wrapping it up for the week. Quite a fun episode, gentlemen. Kevin back with us to wrap it up this week. We talked golf. We talked some basketball. We talked some AAF. We had the All-Star game actually go down past weekend as well. We talked all kinds of different stuff, and it was a good time. Not sure what you guys thought of this week's episode, but I'm looking forward to hearing it in its totality coming up this week, Wednesday, and you will be notified of that if you subscribe to our podcast on all of your favorite podcast platforms. You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter at Scout Team MVPs. Online at scoutteammvps.com, podcast profile, anchor.fm/scoutteammvps. But gentlemen, fun episode this week, and I'm glad we could get a guest picker in Kevin this week. Good times.
Yeah, two things. One, you guys will have to one day teach me how to post videos to Facebook and how to use Twitter. Two, the golf tournament I'm most excited about is the third annual GTO at Pembine Four Seasons Island Resort.
Let's get her going, boys.
We're not going to make any of the listeners, we're not going to let them in on what GTO stands for. Not quite yet. I don't think we're there yet.
No, but it's great. I mean, one day that will be a thing, and people will show up other than just us.
I don't want anyone else to show up, man.
Yeah, it's kind of our
we
thing.
can. Okay, fine. Then we'll just rename it like the AGO. Her student.
Oh God.
Oh boy.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess the long story short, GTO something open. Favorite courses to play somewhere that Shane actually had his probably best round ever.
Yeah, that's where I also hit a car with a golf ball in the parking lot. just sliced her a little bit.
If I recall, you also missed like a 1 foot putt to beat both Chris and myself. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that happened. I think I actually two putted that bad boy to lose by a stroke.
We've got 11 inches to win the match, and you missed her.
That's not the biggest collapse. Somebody was up by like 6 shots going into that last hole. Nope. Hit it in the woods.
Hit it in the woods again. Hit it.
And hit a tree.
Then I 4-putted. So.
That one green on that course though is like the toughest green I've ever played. Like the flag is in the middle of a hill. Like if you go short, you're just gonna roll back down, and if you go long, you're just gonna roll back down. You only got to go right in it.
It's actually like one of those like miniature golf holes where you literally have to hit it above and let it roll down back in.
And the thing is, it's a par 4 and it's a drivable green, but the flag placement is just ridiculous.
Yeah, hopefully the new ownership there handles that green, because that was
Melda will take care of it.
Rough. I mean, Melda, Laura.
If you are ever in the Pembine, Wisconsin area, I really recommend the Four Seasons Island Resort and their ghost tours. Hopefully they keep those going with new ownership, because those goats there are real.
Hopefully 2 people don't ruin it and push the elevator.
That was one person, and then he later was provoking the ghost and fell on his back.
Hey, I mean, it's a ghost tour, and there were ghosts. So
the number one thing about that tour is the tour guide's like, oh yeah, the ghosts open the elevator sometimes, but it wasn't the ghost.
Hey, we're just helping them out, getting it more believable.
Yeah, there you go.
But you know what, Kevin, just taking a look at your picks again, and since you challenged me, I'm just, I think they're garbage. I got this
Pretty
week.
Sure you don't, but it's okay.
All right. Well, whatever. We do, I guess, appreciate you joining us today. I guess, Shane, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't have any money. Sorry.
If, like I said earlier in this episode, we are going to get some guest pickers on as well in future episodes. Kevin gets to be he was our first ever guest picker on the Scout Team MVPs podcast. If you would like to be a guest picker on a future episode, let us know on Facebook or Twitter, or on our website. You can message us as well, and let us know, and we'll try and get you in here, get you on the show. But with that, boys, I appreciate both of your time this week.
I think I realized what I did wrong with the chicken that Quinn's mad at me about. Well,
oh boy, some dinner problems.
To pat the chicken dry, which I did. Then you had to season it with salt and pepper, which I did. And then you had to put a little drizzle of oil on the pan, which I did. And you had to throw the chicken on the pan. Easy enough, right? Well, I bet you $50.
Please join us next week for the Crivets Top Chef
I bet you
podcast.
$50. I bet I put that thing on there, and I bet it still had paper towel stuck to the bottom or something. I guarantee it. I'm in trouble.
Oh,
yep.
Gosh.
Idiot.
Sorry.
Well, I mean, if you're as good at picking as you are at cooking, I should have no problems. Well, Kevin, we do appreciate your time this week. And Shane, as always, good times on episode number 11. Make sure to tune in next week for episode number 12. But with that, we're going to sign off for the week. And
catch you on the flippity flip.
See you, boys.
Bye now.
Thank you for listening to the Scout Team MVPs. Be sure to subscribe and tune in next week as the MVPs discuss all the non-stop action in the world of sports.